We're on that clock, man.
Your clock's
Yeah, I'm not.
on.
Yeah, I'm not used to being on the clock. That clock's broken. It's like,
Oh,
there we go.
goes.
Now we're on the serious clock though. But I was gonna ask you, man. Are you a fantasy football fan?
I don't do fantasy football just because I like my friends, and I like my friendships.
Okay.
And I don't. I feel like I would get too sort of competitive. Also, I like the idea of team sports, and I feel like you play fantasy football.
Yeah, I do, but
So I feel like you like. What's your team?
well, my heart, because I'm from Kansas City, is the Chiefs.
Okay.
But if I'm going fantasy, I got to go New England.
Right.
Cause you got because
Right, but don't you find yourself just looking at individual players more?
Yeah, you do.
So
And I was gonna set it up because not only do I play fantasy football, guess what else I play?
What's that?
I play fantasy EGOT because I'm a film nerd.
Fantasy EGOT? What is that?
because EGOT's the thing they dropped on 30 Rock, which means you're gonna win.
Oh, God.
Yes,
Oh,
the
okay,
Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony joint.
Oh,
So,
Well, no pressure.
no, it's not any pressure because this is the one thing. It's over time. It's not just a season. It's over years.
Okay.
So I got you though. You're my #1 draft
I
choice.
don't,
You already got half of it.
I don't, you know, those things are, when you sort of get nominated for anything, you kind of feel like, wow, that you're thrilled. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like
right.
you're
No, it's an
obviously
honor,
you're
yeah.
obviously thrilled. You know, you grow up. You as a kid you watch movie stars and rock stars on those types of award shows, but then you experience it the way that you experience it being inside of it, inside the bubble, and I think you're thrilled to be recognized by your peers.
Right.
But also I feel like something that affects you more is actual, conversation with a fan that comes up to you on the street and
Okay, I
says,
get you.
"Oh, I love you were really funny in Friends with Benefits," or
I
love
the In Time,
I
'cause
love
it's-
your
right.
last album or
Right.
anything. You
Right.
know, that to me is more like, oh wow, you kind of sometimes you do get caught up in the bubble of making something and you forget that that a lot of people see it. So.
But don't feel any. I know we're on the clock, but don't feel any pressure. I'm going to win it. So I just don't want you to feel pressure
I don't know,
on it.
man. I don't know.
But
I don't know.
all right,
It's a lot to live. That's way too much to live
All
up
right, we
to.
just keep that between us. But tell me about this movie because it's a really trippy deal with the clock in your arm. It's ticking down like this interview's ticking down, but it's a life and death matter.
Right.
I mean, that was on some weird sci-fi thriller type.
You know what I found with this movie was when I first, when it was first given to me, they said, "Yeah, you got to read this movie. It's this really interesting concept."
Right.
But I read the movie, and to be honest, I saw this character as just like, even though this is a macro level, otherworldly concept as only Andrew Niccol can do.
True.
I just saw this character as like an everyday man who gets pushed too far. And I don't see, the action in the movie is played out in a very realistic way. There's not like, there's not action for the sake of action. And I feel like this is just a guy who gets pushed too far and decides to like, go after the system. And I think we can all kind of relate to that. Serendipitously, I think we can really relate to that with the protesting, that's happening.
That's true. That's going down on Wall Street. Yeah, there are a lot of similarities with that, so which is cool. But no, I definitely appreciate the time. I know we're about to run out, but the good thing about it, though, although the clock's going to hit 0, we're both still going to be alive after this.
Yes.
So
we'll
be around to talk about the next movie.
Yeah,
Man.
right.
That's a lot of pressure, man.
Sounds
I
good.
would be like scrubbing the arm. I'd be gangster for real with it.
It was a lot of fun. We were constantly had to be aware of things like that. But do you have dots on your arm? That's the CGI that goes into the movie. You have dots on your arm, and you're like, wait, how long do I have to live again in this?
Right. So the main thing is remembering how much time.
Sure.
It's all good, man.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you, man.
I don't believe we've had the pleasure of your company before, Mr.
Salas. Will Salas.
Philippe Weiss. You must come from time.
You could say I'm gambling my inheritance.
You must be young. When you've been 25 for 85 years like I have, and knowing only a random act of violence can take your life, you learn to appreciate what you have. Of course, some think what we have is unfair. The time difference between zones.
I've heard that.
But hasn't evolution always been unfair? Always been survival of the fittest? This is merely Darwinian capitalism. natural selection.
Absolutely. The strong survive.